Hi everyone and welcome back. This is Sky coming on to talk to you at long last about the year of the water tiger happening from February 1st, 2022 until January 21st, 2023. I've really been enjoying over the last 3 years to bring you some of these Chinese astrology installments. I would like to do more, but I usually only find myself making the annual installment, and I have been very excited to be bringing you this video today. I've been resting. For those of you who've been curious about having a little bit of an update for my channel, I've been taking this first quarter of 2022 to have a bit of an easier time and to kind of plan and kind of just, sit with where I want to take things in the future. And I appreciate you guys for being around nonetheless. I'm doing still quite a bit of content, though I'm planning to amp it up this summer as well. But yes, for those of you who are new, welcome to my channel. I post a variety of content from a stream of consciousness point of view regarding astrology and general kind of inspirational and life dialogue. So if you enjoy that type of thing and would like to see more content, hit the subscribe button below and turn on the bell notifications. And for those of you who are returning, welcome back. Check out the description box below. I hope you will join my mailing list. That's a really great way for us to keep up with each other. You never know in this time of social media whether these big social media companies will be able to continue facilitating these relationships so well. So I do have a mailing list below. And also I have a tier on Patreon called New Synergy for those of you who are wanting to get tea chats every week and bonus content. Okay, just a bit of housekeeping there. Check out the description box and subscribe. Okay, you all, we've got a lot to talk about today. This will be a very comprehensive kind of update, and I'm feeling that we're going to really get into some vital and important information. I appreciate you all so much for being here and helping to create this space. So I hope you are also being able to create a space that is meaningful to you in your life. I feel like the Year of the Tiger almost has to have some type of very meaningful space to rest in. Okay, so moving straight into the introduction and intuitive messages, we really need to have a meaningful resting space. And this was actually, as I'm referring to my to my outline, this is one of the last things I was planning on talking about, but it's coming up first. So, we really need to cultivate a feeling of commanding our own destiny in Year of the Tiger. This can be, on one hand, like a kind of illusory issue, but this can also be very true, where people kind of get to this point in their progression where they're like, I can't just rely on other people. I can't just expect, some other force to manifest things for me. I've got to command my own destiny. And that was one of the major points that I was getting as I was meditating before doing this video, was being able to command one's own destiny and being able to do that very much based and contingent on a meaningful rest area and a meaningful space in your life. So this to me is the foundation of thriving in Year of the Tiger. And I think it's why we've been working so much from the home and been so home-based since 2020. It's almost like it was leading to this period of time where we had to have that kind of established, meaningful space in order to dream soberly and in order to understand why we're really here. To me, this looks like a purpose-generating year. We, of course, need to take the other astrology into account as well. We have Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces. We have Saturn in Aquarius. We have still quite a big activation of Capricorn energy as well. And all of that combining with Tiger energy says to me that we're thinking about the big stuff. We, for whatever reason, for better or worse, are not thinking about the little things anymore. We are not so much valuing, and that this might not be a great thing, but nonetheless, it seems like most people are not really valuing the small happinesses, the small things, the, way that your clothes fit, the quality of your relationship from a very micro view. We're wanting the big things here, okay? We're wanting the big careers, the big positions, the big transformations, the big dreams, okay? The ultimate causes, and it can be exhausting, okay? There's a high likelihood in this Year of the Tiger to have a very exhaustive schedule, to have a very, for some people, piggybacking off of the 2021 year of the ox cycle, especially if you were super busy or super, you had to really rise to the plate during year of the ox and weren't really able to just kind of graze or able to let consistency be the routine for you in year of the ox, you have to be a little bit careful in year of the tiger. Okay, you got to know your limits, and you've got to be able to nonetheless push things further or be able to aspire to a bigger thing than year of the ox, while at the same time having a better rest or rejuvenation routine. So the first thing coming up in intuitive messages, you all, just to really lock this in for you, is that your command of your own destiny, your ability to really soberly perceive how to move forward or how to get past this current blockage or get past this current, well-working machine that you have, but maybe outdated, that is completely contingent on your resting area and on your living environment, okay? While we think of tigers as fast-running, powerful, predatory creatures, they also require a lot of recharging. So I'm seeing a lot of people making an error this year and overbooking themselves or overdoing it, rather than taking a more qualitative, I suppose, approach and really making meaningful actions and doing less of those and having more rest to really create the meaningfulness. So what we really have to get out of here in the very beginning of Year of the Tiger is overdoing things and mediocrity because of overdoing. That's very evocative of the past year cycle. So Year of the Ox was about methodical, doing it over and over again, endurance, working all day, kind of slowly. If you think of cattle, right, ox, it's a kind of slow grazing, slow moving. And there are even times there's a similarity why ox chronologically precedes the tigers, because they also can have like a temper and they can go into a frenzy. And it is that part of the ox that then evolves into tiger, okay? So we're called at this transition point to transcend the slow burning, kind of enduring, never ending, like long days, and to use that sort of deep kind of push that we were also having through 2021, that temper, even that anger for some people, and transmute that into a more nimble, more agile, more dangerous for some people, or more powerful, more quick, more effective energy. This is really the crux to me of Year of the Tiger, is like being able to do that. Okay, so what struggles? Okay, we got a lot to talk about, and I'm also going to be doing some timelines for you all as well, but I'm already just loving how this is coming through. What struggles in Year of the Tiger is if we're kind of being too conventional with ourselves, and if we're kind of pushing ourselves back into that place, like you got to work your 40-hour-a-week job, you've got to work a long time, you've got to make the YouTube video 2 hours instead of 1 hour, you've got to, take 5 classes instead of 2 classes, and it all becomes kind of stretched and therefore in a way like less meaningful. So Year of the Ox showed us how we overstretch or how we over-apply or over-universalize things, and in a way deplete the meaningfulness of them. So Tiger Year should be a constricting energy, because the next year, 2023, Year of the Rabbit, is completely derailing for some people if they can't kind of constrict stuff now, or tighten up the budget now, tighten up the experience, and make a more meaningful kind of push into what they want. So I want to kind of signal to you all right here, right now. I know you guys love my PSAs. PSA, you got to kind of tighten things up a little bit here. This could be the body, this could be the goals, the pursuits, and you've got to actually kind of compress and make more meaningful what you actually express. So in reality, what can this look like? I mean, this can look like working less hours and having more surplus. This can look like getting an hourly raise and working less hours, so you're working less and you're also making more money. This can look like refusing to worry about non-issues, or allowing yourself, like when you might be in a kind of habit or cycle of worrying about things which have not presented themselves as problems, This could look like you finally stepping up and releasing those worries, or even more likely, just solving them once and for all. The Year of the Tiger does really ask us to solve these long-running quandaries with this sort of quick-moving, smaller push of energy. So again, that's totally contingent on meaningful rest and meaningful recharging. Because without that, I think that there would be kind of a just dodging or flatline of the energy. Okay, so we might just totally miss. We might just totally lose resonance. We might just be irrelevant in some ways on a certain path. Okay, so another very meaningful thing to do for a lot of people this year would be to redo their bedroom, okay? Or any resting area that they're in. So a new bed might be in order for some people. Also, something about the feng shui of the house is very important as well. Little things like blocked drains or aspects of the home being cluttered or out of natural flow would be a major deterrent to the natural channeling of this energy, because it's very concise. It's asking us to be very concise and specific about what we want. And if our surroundings and specifically our resting area is unconcise and unprecise, it's going to lead to our expression being like that too. So we have to get a little bit less vague. And this is what's hard about this year, okay? Water tiger struggles with this too, because it's the water element and it can be sometimes hard to see underwater. It's kind of a foggy element sometimes. And also, given that we have such a water emphasis in the sky with Jupiter, Neptune, and Pisces, the threat for this year is to kind of get lost in your goals, to kind of lose track of the most meaningful path, to be kind of oblivious, okay? And Tiger as an archetype kind of exists to cut through obliviousness, okay? But there's a lot of obliviousness to cut through here, it does seem, and that takes a lot of energy, and we're right back to needing the energy to do that. How do we get the energy to do that? That's really the main question of this year. How do we get the energy to cut through this BS for some people? And how is that going to be a rewarding process? Okay, the next thing I have to tell you about Year of the Tiger is you should see some type of very physical evolution somewhere. There should be some type of promotion. There should be some type of increase in your business if you're a business owner. There should be some type of graduation here if you're an academic. There should be something that shifts your status upward. That's a sign that Year of the Tiger is doing well. You should see more of something. It's an increaser. It's a plus sign. It's an inflator, okay, tiger energy. It's kind of fiery. It's the third sign in the Chinese zodiac. So that, to me, is like the Gemini. In Western astrology, it's the Gemini-Sagittarius axis, which is always going to inflate or increase something. And we want to make sure it's the right thing, okay? There's not a lot of room, and this is another intuitive message I was getting about Year of the Tiger, is it really wants us to get off the bridge. Okay, it wants us to be at that point B. Okay, it doesn't want us to be in transit between point A and point B. What do I mean by that? Like being in those sort of halfway places in life. You know, I want to work this job that I hate to save enough money to do what I actually want to do. That's an example of being on a bridge. I want to do something that I don't want to do in order to make what I do want to do possible. That's being on the bridge. And I'm seeing quite a large group of people who are like really convincing themselves that they have to be on the bridge until 2024. And one of the consecutive intuitive messages that I got is that that does work for some people, you know, like Year of the Dragon, right? Like Year of the Rabbit is kind of like subdued, okay? And it's small, and it's kind of like maybe indicative of that as well. But we really can't go past 2024, because then we're kind of maybe prolonging this bridge and not actually having the confidence to leap for what we want to leap for. And that's what Year of the Tiger is really like. So a lot of people honestly are best served just to do that this year. Okay, just to finally allow themselves to partake in what they want to partake in life. And especially relating to goals or evolution or professional expression. To be very clear, this is not like, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to sit back and eat donuts all day. I'm going to finally let myself do that. This is not like, oh my gosh, I've wanted to quit my job for so long and just kind of like live with my family for a while. This is not what it is. It's something that is maybe increasing of personal expression in a very professional, positive way that we do really want to see some type of increase here for, because that is one of the most giving aspects of the tiger archetype, is it really will reward you for effort, okay? Whatever you strive for during this time is kind of guaranteed, as long as you don't burn out and as long as you don't like have a health crisis because you're not resting or you're not recharging yourself. There's a likelihood of having more energy though, like when you need it. So like when you're having to push through, when you're having to sprint, when you're having to step up to the plate, you will have more energy than usual to do that during Year of the Tiger. But you have to remember, with humans, there's always an equal and opposite reaction, and on Earth there always is too. So you want to watch out for relying on that or for taking advantage of it in a bad way. So like, I'm going to go out for drinks tonight because I know that I'll have the energy to still wake up at 5 a.m. And it's not going to work for stuff like that. It's going to be like, okay, in order to maintain my income and like finish this like program, I have to, stay up till 2 a.m. doing this or that and then wake up at 5 a.m. That works this year for some people. But it has to be very essential stuff. It can't really be taken advantage of in an unmeaningful way. And continuing on that idea of getting off the bridge in 2022, you should also see an evolution from like a baseline experience towards actualization. Okay, there should be some type of nudge at least, or some type of movement towards actualizing yourself or your experience of life rather than just meeting its baseline. So if you've been since Year of the 2020, like a rat year, and when we had all of that crazy world stuff happening, which is not going to really subside, I've got to tell you all that things are not going to get easier on the world stage. It's going to consecutively get kind of more intense, at least until 2024, if not further. So we can't be using global events as an excuse to not like do what matters to us in life. We can't be like, I'm going to wait until the world gets back to normal before I step back onto my path of actualization. You'll never step onto it if you do that. It's never going to really be the way it was. And that, for some people, is going to give them an opportunity, or going to give them, kind of a cause or a kind of motivation to actualize. We have to kind of look at it from that point of view, like the world is not as secure as it used to be, or there's a lapse in some of the previous order. Maybe that's why I have to do this, or that's why I have to step up to the plate now. I think that is working for a lot of people to think that way. But I also feel in Year of the Tiger, we have to really understand time, or you'll really be ahead of the game if you can work with time in a more meaningful way. Like, okay, so I'm on the bridge for like 6 years, like saving or, preparing myself to finally step into purpose. And I keep kind of delaying that, or I keep kind of, existing in a kind of halfway, almost purgatorial expression. That's something that we need to really see as the threat that it is, or as the time-wasting mechanism that it is. And for some of us, we have to really attack that, okay? We have to dismantle that, especially if we're seeing a self-sabotage, or if we're seeing a threat to the entirety of the future possibility, like the opportunity cost of being on this bridge, or the opportunity cost of maintaining that which is not really purposeful for us. We have to maybe dismantle that here. I feel like Year of the Tiger is a meaningful time to do that, and Year of the Rabbit even more so, honestly. So, and then Year of the Dragon being more like a really all about actualization. It's very egotistical as well, and it's not just egotistical. It's like with actual power infused into that. So not just a self-egotism, but like an actual kind of a problematic for some people situation, especially if they self-deprived, or especially if they convinced themselves they had to do something they didn't have to do in order to get somewhere. Year of the Dragon is really problematic and like, I don't know, corrupt or full of mazes, all right? And some people can get through that. Some people can, navigate their way through a maze. But I want you to know that 2024 will likely be a bit of a maze if we don't at least have the understanding here in 2022 that we're not actualizing if we're not, or that we're tricking ourselves about something. Because the Jupiter-Neptune conjunctions that we're having, which are the pushing force transit-wise in 2022, can actually be like delusional, or it can be out of touch with the real realm of progression. And on one hand, I think that it can reveal to us, in its healthy manifestation, it can reveal to us what we really are meant for, or what is like the most soul appropriate expression for us. Again, Jupiter and Neptune, very nice combination of planets, both ruling Pisces, both very happy to be in that sign. Artistic expression could be through the roof. I mean, my singers, songwriters, artists, even speakers, or politically minded people as well, can actually become very meaningful during this time. But you have to make sure that it's real, or that it's not like seeming caricatured, okay? Because that, while it works for some people, most celebrities have like stage names, this like the Neptune energy. You don't really know who these people are actually at all. So that is something that I feel we might have to start transcending a little bit, or coming through. And how we can be more real and feel secure is a big question, because I think a lot of people are in a security crisis right now. The Jupiter-Neptune, the negative, is a security crisis, and it's also like lies or deception or corruption. So people are maybe too scared to be authentic and real. People are too scared to say the truth. People are too scared to reveal also their dreams or their plans, in fear of being, attacked, or having them taken away from them by another person. So that's really the main thing that we are needing to transcend this year in 2022. And we need to understand what our life purpose is here as much as we can, because I think that most people are suffering from a difficulty in maintaining one goal, or a difficulty in consistency of mind, or consistency of future projection. Now, we can't control that ever. We can never totally control our future. We can set one goal if we want to. It does not mean that that's what is in store for us. But it is good for people to have an idea of where they're going, because otherwise they can get really unprecise in their expression and really all over the place. Mediocrity consumes the experience, and it's expensive. It's meaninglessly expensive. It's going to really show itself if that's where we're at. And Year of the Tiger gives you the chance to totally get that stuff right. It's also really important this year to say no to any kind of deprivation. And this can go a lot of ways, okay? We can't deprive ourselves of nutrients. Take vitamins, please. We can't, and eat the right food is even more important, but we also can't deprive ourselves of surplus, okay? So we have to really be able to balance our budgets well. We have to be getting enough, okay? We have to be spending enough to make sure that we're not depriving ourselves via frugality, but we also have to cut back in a way to make sure we're not depriving ourselves of surplus. Because I really do think that by 2023 or 2024, a lot of people need to have savings, or at the latest, by the Year of the Dragon, people have got to do what they want to do in their lives, okay? And for a lot of people, especially if you're security oriented, you need to be able to justify that and know that you're not going to be homeless, as a result of following purpose. And it's not going to happen anyway. I mean, I can dismantle that for you all actually right now. When you follow purpose, okay, when you do what you're meant to do, money is not an inhibition there. All right. For those of you in poverty mindset who think I've got to save so much money to step onto the path of purpose, it's not the case. However, a lot of people, okay, by learning how to save efficiently, overcome the poverty archetype in general. So I understand the confliction there, or the need to do that. So it's not bad to do that, but I just also want you to know that if you're doing soberly what is right for you, not succumbing to some type of manic insight or some type of crazy, over the top, unrealistic notion, because that will cause poverty, okay? That will put people onto the streets sometimes if they're not dreaming in a sober way or being like manic, okay, like mental illness does. I certainly have no authority to speak about mental illness, talk to a mental illness provider, but it doesn't take an expert to know that mental illness is something that can bring poverty, right? So we have to make sure that we are well, and I think it's a wonderful time to be with a therapist, someone who can talk about those things, okay, someone who has, the ability to actually work with you there. So if you're struggling with like your emotional health, definitely seek out a professional, okay, definitely seek out someone with expertise there, because it is a good year also to overcome some type of long-running like feeling of malcapability or some type of disorder is good to overcome. During the year of 2022, we have a lot of healing capability. We have a lot of transformative capacity there as well. It's a wonderful year for healing the mind and for healing the psyche. Okay, so I encourage you all to find the appropriate people with which to undertake that. Okay, but to complete my point there, if you have healed a lot and if you know a sober understanding of what's right for you, that's not ever going to be something that impoverishes you. Okay. So we need to overcome that as well. What else do I want to talk about in intuitive messages? I want to talk about a little bit about the bravery to face things. Okay, the year of the tiger deals with bravery, and it deals with some things that we didn't want to deal with. Okay, there should also this year be some aspect of like, gosh, I just want to delay that. I just don't want to deal with that. I just don't want to seek out that advice. I don't want to put myself in a vulnerability of like, knowing the truth about something. And yes, the 2023 year cycle, so year of the rabbit, can be all about that. Okay, so there can be a complete year devoted to like understanding if we did something right or wrong, or, redoing paperwork, redoing our life path, asking why we committed to something that we committed to. Like that can be the entire 2023 year cycle if we can't do it now, or we can really just handle that in 2022 like very quickly, because again, the energy bursts of tiger is very good for solving things. It's good for solutions. It's good for stepping up to the plate, or at the very least planning it. I mean, I can see some people having to defer or delay that until like January of 2023, which is the last part of Year of the Tiger, which is fine because that's still Year of the Tiger. But we really don't want to see, especially like equinox of 2023, with like still an unsureness or still kind of a lingering inaction. Okay, I want to repeat that for you all. Lingering inaction is not something that we will almost be able to like sit with the fact that we allowed to go that long with it. I'm kind of weird series of words, but we might be very upset at ourselves if we don't solve a certain like a non-ending problem in this year cycle. It's really nice by 2023 for things to be like in working order, for there to be a simplicity, for there to be a lack or less skyscrapers in the mind, less fears of having done something wrong, less, vacancies in our lives as well for like professional input or for assistance. Okay. Those are things that we really are called to work on here in 2022. And 2021 already really, I would say, encouraged us or motivated us to want to get those structural things right so that we have a foundation. But that can also be a can of worms, I understand, and it takes sometimes years. When you're talking Saturn stuff, right, like structure, like businesses, like careers, organizations, sometimes those things take years to get right. Like selling a house for some people can take years. Buying a house, finding the right house can take years. These are like the big 10th house Capricorn stuff. And it's not something that we should ever think that we can do in one day. Some people do, some people can. I don't usually see that goes very well. So we have to understand that the meaningful big stuff does take time. And yes, in the 2022 year cycle, if you need to have a major push into that stuff, or if you do need to just devote a lot of energy into pushing into that, that is appropriate here. But do understand that it takes also quite a bit of time, but action might start now, okay? Okay, I want to talk briefly about some of the problem areas intuitively that I'm getting about a Year of the Tiger and some things that you want to avoid or definitely notice if they're getting out of control here. Firstly, passivity. Okay, not really being able to face things head on, not really being able to like ask the right questions, being all over the place, being kind of like unprecise and even unprofessional or procrastination oriented. These are the main problem areas for Year of the Tiger. It really asks for you to be able to ask the right questions, for you to be able to construct or precisely generate a reality that kind of makes sense to conjoin or to step into what you actually want. So we have to kind of fight, okay, for what we want here. We have to, actually show the universe or show the world that this is what we're meant for, or this is what we're cut out for, and it's not going to be a passive situation. Okay, I want to really tell you guys about this important caveat of this year. While many spiritual movements are like, it'll be given to you, it's something that you just get, it's not how it works now. It does no. You don't just get it, okay? You fight for it, and it takes guts, okay? And it's not something that you have to like go below the belt with, okay? It's not something that you have to be like crazy or you have to like be out to get other people or something. That's not what I mean here, but I do mean that if you want something for your life, or if you, especially if it's not what you have and you want something else, you're gonna have to probably reach out and get that, or you're gonna have to be able to strategize precisely for that, okay? Or be accepting of that which you have been given, okay? Which is right for some people. Like some people have been given the good stuff and they've already done this, and here it is, in which case, congratulations. But if you're not happy with what you currently have, that's not going to change passively. All right, that needs to be made very clear about Year of the Tiger. Another thing that I see as a problem for Tiger Year is playing things safe, okay? It does kind of ask for a risk lenience, all right? So risk-averse people struggle, passive players struggle. People who are passive-aggressive are completely nullified during this time. So Cancers kind of struggle. The water signs do kind of, although it is a water tiger, yes, but because it is a water tiger, it almost intensifies this. It's like it really cuts through that watery kind of indirect passive-aggressive stuff. So you have to really also be firm with people. Okay, I'm not saying be mean. I'm not saying being rude, because there's also a possibility, and I have this written down as well, of people being mean, rude, or succumbing to like tantrums, all right, or telling people off, which is also a big problem because you make enemies or you end up creating your own obstacles that way. But what I am saying here is so we have to be able to find this balance where we're able to express a problem, or we're able also to establish a boundary without also being needlessly mean or needlessly rude, okay? So there's a big possibility in Year of the Tiger, and I've already been seeing this, I'm sure you guys have as well, of people really imposing themselves on you. People can be an imposition during this time. People can really project onto you, and you can also impose or project on other people as well. The narcissism is at a high in Year of the Tiger. People can be ruthless, okay? There can be a war orientation, not just on the global stage, but in interpersonal relationships. Like you can see family wars, you can see wars over even quite small assets or quite seemingly unimportant things, like, a half acre of forest land or something can be something people like war over. Like it's really crazy. Like people can totally like lose their minds over small things with Year of the Tiger. It's like instinctual. There's an instinctual rage and also a cleansing of the deep pent up turmoil. So Year of the Tiger pulls out that turmoil. So people can be shifty during this time, and also people can be very unintuitive or unempathetic to the paths of other people. So in that way, you have to watch out for also taking advice or being someone who relies completely on the advice of other people to make your own decisions. That can be problematic this year too, because they might not be in tune with your personal path. They might not really be thinking about where you are, and they might, it's very easy to get bad advice in Year of the Tiger, I've got to tell you all. And that's why sobriety and developing the pineal gland and really working on the third eye. I think that if I were to pick out a chakra in Year of the Tiger that I think is most wise to counterbalance some of the negatives, it's definitely third eye. Definitely. It's been throat chakra for so long. It's been even like heart chakra. And those two are also emphasized, but it has really went into the third eye because I think a lot of people have such a spectrum of possibilities or such a at least wide range of choices, okay, whether good or bad choices. And it does take a lot of intuitive development to know soberly which is the right one. Because I will tell you all, by Year of the Dragon, okay, some doors are closed after then, okay? And it's a long time. We've got wiggle room. And then even after Year of the Tiger, some doors close as well. They are pretty much all open during Year of the Tiger, especially given that we have all of this Pisces and Aquarius activation. You can pretty much do what you want to do. You can pretty much pick a path. Like this is kind of like for everybody at like most ages actually, but maybe not all, but at a lot of ages, it's kind of like that primordial, I just graduated college situation, or I just got out of high school. What path am I going to take now? That's kind of the vibe in Year of the Tiger. So choosing a career can be difficult. Choosing a location to live can be hard, okay? Choosing to date or be single can be hard. And this is where we need that third eye development in order to understand what's right for us in our situation, because nobody knows your situation like you do. And if you're somebody who is a passive person who needs an advisor or needs someone to make your choices for you, that could be really harsh, okay? Because they might be making their choices for themselves, okay? They might be, thinking about what they would do in your situation, which is a false empathy. So I want to open you guys up to this concept of false empathy. Someone might think that they're doing you a favor. Someone might think that they're out for your best interest. And truly, like they're not out to get you. They're not out to sabotage you, most likely. But it might actually be a projection or it's like not, they actually have no clue what your life is like or what your margins are, okay? But maybe it's still good to get the advice, or maybe it's good to understand what they would think, because there's also a value in Year of the Tiger of kind of understanding what people around you think and how different that is or how similar that is to what you think. Like, how much are you like impacting the people around you honestly? It is good to kind of gauge how you're projecting as well, because we do have a projection problem this year. And I want to tell you guys that there's kind of like a food chain mentality, or there is a dominance hierarchy being generated this year. So if you're a passive person, or if you're someone who keeps your head down with like low profile all the time, which might really be recommendable, I mean, with some of the world events, it depends. There are some people who do that skillfully. But if you don't have like assets, or if you don't have something that's really empowering you in that low profile, so if you're not like an oligarch, or if you're not like a plutocrat or something, or like aspiring to be that, those types of under the wing types of people who somehow still maintain a type of power generation, you could be subverted down to the bottom of the food chain, basically. So I'm seeing people being rewarded for expressing. I'm seeing people being given positions just for being able to confront things, or just for being able to directly talk about problems and not shy away from it. So I see, even if you're incorrect or if you're wrong, that just kind of stepping up to the plate or expressing or speaking up or standing strong in a caricature will give you a high position likely this year. And there is a need of having to speak, or a likelihood of having to speak about something pretty heavy, and having to do that in a confident and brave way, not in a passive or indirect way, okay? The last problem area that I've identified with Year of the Tiger is being pulled in too many directions. So this does relate back to passivity. You could see that like you're yo-yoed, or you are... also, if you can't express exactly what it is that you're seeking or what it is that you're out for, you could see that people in like 18 different places are requesting your presence. So conflicting goals, all right? Things like 2 different things that you actually can't do at the same time. And maybe tricking yourself into trying that, and then this can lead to burnout, or this can lead to a major crisis down the road. We have to be able to express in some way, in some sensical way, the oncoming momentum, and otherwise we're going to be pulled in a lot of conflicting directions. So to counter that a little bit, this is where like boundaries are important, and this is where we really have to say or be willing to say what we're not doing. Okay, I'm probably not going to do XYZ, and then it'll just stop, and like you can just tell people no in a kind way. It's going to have to be like that, and we don't need to do it rudely. We don't need to be condescending, because it's also possible in Year of the Tiger to make enemies. Okay. So you want to not let it be an egotistical, narcissistic no, but a kind and self-sustaining no, okay, for things that you don't want to do. Otherwise, people will not lay off of it if you can't express that. In fact, I'm seeing a lot of people who just can't say no or just can't express that they don't want to do a certain thing, literally being pulled into like the top ranks of something they never wanted to do just because they never could set a boundary, or they never could allow themselves to not do something they didn't want to do. Like they had to people please, or they had to passively, what's the word? They had to fortify the intuitions of other people, or tell other people that they were correct when they like volunteered them or something, like just to assuage to another person, they will destroy their own momentum. So passivity is a very destructive thing during this time. Okay, quick little note and segue. I want to talk a little bit about the parts of the body and the health that are indicated in Year of the Tiger that I understood. And those are the teeth, okay, the feet, the skin, and the peripheral nervous system. Okay, we had been in the central nervous system for quite a while over the last since 2018, and I feel that things have now moved into the peripheral parts of the body. So we're working with the more decentralized parts of the world, and also the decentralized parts of our own nervous systems, and needing to heal those up now. Also, orthotics could be good for some people. Caring for your feet, doing foot soaking, okay, with the right essential oils. Making sure that you don't have like fungus or toenail problems. Okay, the feet are very emphasized because the tiger, it runs. Its paws, it has the claws and the paws, and they're really a part of how it functions. So I feel that the feet are indicated. We also have the Pisces energy, right? And the sign Pisces rules the feet. So we want to make sure that our toe health, our arch support, our heels are all really healthy during this time, because we need to run. There's a feeling of needing to run in Year of the Tiger. So running for exercise could be really good. Cardio, sprinting even for some people. Sure, the heart would be emphasized as well, because it needs to be strong to energize us enough to do this. But I also say a peripheral nervous system because to me, tiger as an animal is a very neurologically advanced energy. So it has to be very coordinated. It has to be very strategic, quick, and with good vision. Okay. So the nervous system and the way that our vision, or the way that our senses, come back, and how we process that is very emphasized during this time. So whatever you can do to amp up the health of your nervous system. And teeth as well. So the enamel of the teeth, the alignment of the teeth is also coming up. We want to have good, healthy teeth. They say that a lot of your neurological health does come from chewing and from the way that you are processing food in your mouth. Okay. That to me was about Year of the Ox too, but has come forward into this year as well. Make sure you're not eating a lot of bread and soft foods. You need crunchy vegetables and things that you really have to process through chewing. I feel that chewing is actually quite a good way to energetically process things this year, because it's almost like we're doing that with our dreams. I feel we're kind of chewing or processing or digesting in a very primary way some of the dreams or some of the things that we want to take on. So I feel that chewing in a way can be a good symbol or a good channeling of this energy. So healthy foods that are crunchy could be good this year. And then also the skin. Yes, the tiger has a beautiful skin and fur. I suppose it's more of its fur, so it's the skin and the hair are coming up. So I feel like we maybe need a good collagen supplement, right? Teeth and skin and things like that coming up would mean that we need more collagen in the body. And also watch out for chemicals on the skin or anything that can damage the skin barrier. You might work this year if you're like cosmetically focused instead of acids or instead of all that, crazy stuff that people put on their skin. Maybe it's about enhancing the skin barrier from the inside out, or making your skin more resilient and more strong. Okay, and the last segment that I'm going to put together for you all is just a quick timelines. All right, I did this in the Year of the Ox video, which you guys should definitely go and check out if you're looking for some final thoughts on Year of the Ox. But 3 distinct timelines were coming up to me as I was meditating on Year of the Tiger. So the first timeline was the time of February to July 2022. This timeline to me was the more difficult side of Year of the Tiger. So we're starting out with the hard stuff, all right? From the time of February to July, it's likely that you have to process, like, what do I want to do with my life? Where am I taking things? Why am I, doing what I'm doing? Do I feel confident in that? There's a lot of processing. There's like maybe professional advice. There is that long All Planets Direct, which has been a blessing, but has also really changed the entire world. And we've had a lot of like geopolitical shifts and a lot of, by virtue of that, a lot of internal shifts as well. So we have to really know what that means for us and what we have signed up for and how that can continue to work as we transition off the bridge and onto the things that matter. And that's hard, okay? It's hard stuff to know that it's scary, right? When something has worked for such a long time and we have to change it, or we have to trust that the bad feelings that we have or the things that we don't want to do anymore are valid. And to not basically force yourself into doing what you don't want to do, and to take that risk, kind of getting into the place of the fool, and jumping into what is right after quite a bit of processing is hard. And I think that a lot of that is what this first timeline is about. I also really feel that in this first timeline, February to July, that most of the legwork of Tiger work is done. Okay, so a lot of the strength training, okay, a lot of the need for endurance does fall in the very beginning of it and in this first 4 or 5 months. So if you want to channel this energy well, I would recommend just getting stuff done. I would recommend good exercise regimens. I would recommend core training. I would recommend making sure that you're getting enough calories and not too many, and just kind of really taking a very active approach to pretty much every step of your life. And you will really generate energy even for like the rest of this Chinese astrology cycle. So for the next like 9 years, you can actually generate certain results or generate certain outcomes through the work that is done from February to July 2022. So it's a very opportune time for working. All right. Anything else about this timeline? It's a lot like the movie Eye of the Tiger. It's kind of cliche. There's maybe a sacrifice for some people, or a kind of giving to a bigger goal or giving to a bigger process that does take place, and you might be training for something. To me, it's the energy of like training for a marathon or training for some type of big event. It's like a preparation, but it's not just preparation anymore. It's really follow through and connection to that. So what I would watch out for during this time is like laziness, procrastination, or again, like, losing track of how you're treating your body, loss of muscle, or anything that sees you kind of deteriorating or depreciating with your body would be the worst case scenario during that time. And it is really nice already during February to July to kind of know why you're doing it. Like, what is your why factor? What are you training for? As I'm seeing some people just kind of like training, like hoping that the right goal will come in front of them. It is really nice by Aries season, okay, to know why you're doing it and what you're looking toward, okay? So yes, Pisces season, so like March or February 21st to March 21st of 2022 is really good for dreaming and understanding how you might like for things to go, and then having that queued up so that you have a good motivation for your training. Okay, the second timeline that I feel for Year of the Tiger was just July and August, so a 2-month period there. And I feel this to be the game changer. That's the only words that I got for it, was like a catalyst experience or game changer moment. I would give yourself as much time to be training and to be also perhaps on vacation for some people. I feel this particular summer period in the Northern Hemisphere to be really good for getting out of your comfort zone, for being in a different place, for taking time to really quantify what you want your next goal to be or what you want your next chapter to be, and to maybe make that the main motivation or the main impetus for that period of time. It's very shifting in our perception. So I'm seeing some people with a totally different life outlook or a totally different philosophy on their past or on their qualifications, their credentials, what they've been working for such a long time. And it feels like mostly a positive change, okay? So we're maybe less limited in what we allow ourselves to undertake, or we are less frivolous at the same time, and it's more like meaningful stuff. So however you can prepare yourself in July and August to experience that game changer, if you've been needing to have that, as that is what I'm feeling for that time. And then the third timeline that I was feeling for the Year of the Tiger is then August through January, okay? And in fact, I might even add a fourth timeline. I'm feeling like August through November and then actually December through January. So let's talk about August through December, like early December. This is a day-by-day transcending. This is a homecoming. This is a graduation for some people. This is a never again type of situation too. Like there's opportunities that are presenting themselves that need direct action, swift work, being able to do it, being able to give 110%, being able to rise to the challenge, okay? And knowing how things continue strategically while giving room for life to give its contribution. So that balance, right? Especially by Libra season of 2022, having a totally different balance of bodily chemicals, perhaps, or having a totally different balance of just circadian rhythms, and really being able to step up to everything and showing a certain brilliance or showing a certain capability within a certain industry or sector, okay? And then by December and January, it's going to be like a regrouping, okay? And it's going to be like the real connecting point or the real bridge to, a very, very big, for some people, situation, or just a very right situation. But yes, in the August to December period, I want to really stress that there has to almost be like every single day has to be really important. So there's not going to be like, for 5 days, my brain is kind of off while I wait for the next, situation. Like I'm kind of passive. I'm kind of like not paying attention to it. Like the days are just passing and there's no real significance to it. Like that has to go by that time, and every single day, okay, August to December 2022, every single day has to be like significant and purposeful and full circle and important to your path, which will then get us like really clear for that last like December to January time where we have to make a big decision, okay? I was even feeling in the 2022 year ahead forecast, and I think actually the nodal paradigm video as well, that for a lot of the signs there were a big decision coming in July of 2022 and then January 2023. And as I'm doing this video, I'm seeing that January 2023 is probably really the climax decision point for a lot of people about like, am I going to jump into that new field? Am I going to stay and expand? Am I like, how do I move forward? There's such a big portal there for purposeful or conscious or individual choice about certain path work. The biggest one possibly like in more than a decade. So I just want to prepare you all for that we want to be in such a healthy place to make these choices. Mentally healthy, physically healthy, the right food in our bodies, the right amount of sleep, the right type of comfortable environment. All of that work we've been doing since like 2020, even 2019 for some people, is coming as a necessary backstory or prologue to the important decision that we will be making during that time. So Good luck, everyone. As I'm coming to you in March of 2022, understand, if you can, that within the next 10 or 11 months, okay, there is going to be a major decision point and a kind of a flashpoint in your own story of self-progression. So whatever you can do to consecutively build up to that and make yourself sober, healthy, and wise and capable, that will be the best way to do it, and to feel confident as well. Year of the Tiger is about confidence. It's also about empathetic confidence, with it being water tiger. It's about adaptability, versatility, and being able to have relevance with anything. So like being able to see how any path contributes to the bigger story, or to the better part of you, and also choosing to release quite a lot of baggage, or quite a lot of frivolous things which are not such a sharp representation of yourself. So I hope you all enjoy it. It's really a great year. It's going to be very different. Okay, it's going to probably be the first year where we're kind of getting back into like a kind of expressive energy that we've enjoyed, or that we feel is more relative to who we are. And I think that it's a very much more giving year than the last few. I think that if you are willing to work, or if you're willing to ask the right questions, that they will be answered during this time, and that you can apply the previous momentum properly if you can be precise, okay, and not be like all over the place and unwieldy. All right. Happy Year of the Tiger. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button below if you liked it, to get it out there. Subscribe and turn on the bell notifications. And check out my tier called New Synergy on Patreon, where you can get weekly tea chats every Saturday. And you can get early and ad-free access to readings. And there's quite a few other tiers over there as well that I would encourage you to check out. It is how this channel keeps going. There's also a join button here on YouTube if you prefer to support that way. There are very reasonable options to keep this content possible. So thank you all so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful Year of the Tiger. I'm rooting for you. Have a great time. Bye.